for understanding this whole process. That means before starting with the understanding of the Yoga Sutras, we need to know that are we eligible for the same. And then he goes ahead and makes us understand that what is yoga. Chittavritti Nirodha Yoga is what we say, bringing about the cessation of the modifications of our Chitta, which comprises of Mana, Buddhi, Ahankar, both all the three things into it, and meeting one of our very strict disciplinarian, Mr. Vijay Chitnis. I was wondering, is this how yoga going to be? That I am going to be drilled into the practices. But the more I started to know him, from the other people also, my colleagues and my seniors, I realized that it is very important for all of us to introduce that discipline into us before introducing yoga to us. And that is where for beginners, the first and foremost thing we should be very clear about is the Kriya Yoga. As Nehaji already made it very clear that the concept of Kriya Yoga, Patanjali's Kriya Yoga, again I should be making it very clear, otherwise there is always a misunderstanding whether it is the Shatkarma, the Kriya, whether it is Babaji's Kriya Yoga, or whether it is Swami Satyananda Saraswati's Kriya Yoga, what it is. Some or the other things are changed, and there are many institutions around who somehow or the other have tried to bring about certain practices under Tapaha, under Swadhyaya, under Ishwar Pranidhana. Our Param Guru, Swami Kuvalananji, used to always say, just be very sure. If you don't do yoga, it's okay. But if you are directing certain things which are leading to yoga, then that will be a great injustice to the humanity itself. So don't allow that to happen. And this is where somewhere the practices or the Kriya Yoga, they have been misleading, I should say, or I should say injustice to our basic knowledge. Anyways, all this is understood very well. When we come to the first sutra of the second chapter, that is Sadhana Pada, Tapaswadhyaya Isha Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So what is Kriya Yoga? It comprises of Tapa. What is Tapa? Sheer hard work, austerity, penance. When you talk about Swadhyaya, self-analysis, self-study, self-introspection, and when you talk about Ishwar Pranidhan, a complete surrender. See, it becomes very important for all of us to understand that the teachings of Patanjali Yoga is not just for the sake of having an understanding related to yogic facilities, which is like going to the basics into the philosophies and connecting it to the practices. But it was very clear that whatever Patanjali is going to teach us or make us understand, it is there and belong to every other religions which is existing on this earth. Now since, as she was telling, my PhD work, if I should tell you, I was telling Borse sir, it is about the comparative study of the spiritual practices in yoga and Islam. I started my journey long back, 3 to 3.5 years back, and somewhere I feel that I have not yet started, because my guide is also that strict, and he makes sure कि अभी तक वो बात नहीं मिली है जो हमको जिस पे वर्क करना है और उसके पर काम करो. So I don't know when it is going to get completed. Anyways, that is a different topic altogether. So here when we say or talk about Kriya Yoga, the next thing which we are coming across is the result of Kriya Yoga. Samadhi Bhavnartha Klesha Tanukarnartha. That means this practice will certainly lead you to the understanding of Samadhi, the feeling of Samadhi, the attitude of Samadhi, and at the same time it is going to bring about the attenuation or the reducing or the management, or what you can say, healing, which is a painful process of the kleshas. Kleshas means miseries, the afflictions that we all are suffering with. Right from avidya to abhinivesha, when we talk about how avidya, see, the learned people in the yoga itself are under the impressions of I'm saying learned people including me. When I'm talking about learned people, it is not only to the people who just study yoga for the sake of having a certificate and they go ahead and start teaching yogic exercises. This word exercise, I still remember the way Guruji used to become furious by hearing this word. Nowadays, yoga is like an exercise. But there are very few institutions, like the Yoga Vidya Niketan or Kaivalya Dham or some other institutions, where the tradition has been still prevailing in strong. And I should tell you, Surya Namaskar has become an important, wherever you go, even it is taught here, but when we come across Surya Namaskar, it is never included into the basic traditional course, because it is not the traditional practice at all. That is what Guruji used to always say. And that is where the improper understanding of the subject itself is leading people into the problems. Klesha. As we say, it is miseries, and avidya is the root cause of the same. We are saying that if avidya is the root, then the trunk is said to be the asmita, the I consciousness, or you can say I amness, and then it is branching out into rag and dvesha are the branches and the fruits of the other things which you can consider. Out of that is the abhinivesha, which is going to be the ultimate result. And at last we also understand that abhinivesha is nothing but something which is experienced even by the learned. Swarasavahi vidosho api tatarudaha abhinivesha. So when we say that even the learned are not spared with that, factor of abhinivesha, clinging to life or having that fear of death. That means I am standing over here and maybe talking a lot about the philosophy of yoga, but at the same time, when it comes, when some suffering comes, when some disease comes, when some problems comes, I run helter-skelter here and there, and I just don't want to live this passionate life that I am leading with experiencing of this world. This is where abhinivesha holds on to you. We are being told, see, if you want to overcome this Kriya Yoga, how it is going to help you, along with the other aspects, te prati prasava heyaha sukshmaha, you need to take this kleshas, this avidya, which is existing in the four platform, from prasutta tanu vichina udara. I won't say that the hall which is existing with the learned people from the yoga background, we may be in the udara state, but at the same time, we may be in vichina state. There are some saints over here who may be belonging to the tanu factor, that means in a very attenuated form the kleshas are there. At the same time, just imagine a newborn baby not knowing anything about klesha, or not knowing anything about suffering, or not having an understanding of anything, but getting colored by the worldliness later on, prasupta avastha. But the moment comes in contact with all the kind of exposure, the coloring takes place. The suffering starts. So Patanjali says, see, is it possible for you to go from the udara state to vichina, from vichina to tanu, from tanu to prasupta avastha, so that you can manage? How is that possible? And he goes on to tell us in the sutra number 211, dhyana heyas tadavrittaya. If you are doing dhyana, if you are practicing meditation, now we all know directly practicing meditation is not possible. And what is the best way to get along with the preparatory practice? When we sit for any simple meditative asana, cultural or maybe relaxating asana, and we are being told that let us start with the practice of prana dharana itself. So that dharana on the prana, when it leads you into that understanding of dhyana, it is going to lead us into the overcoming of the vrittis also. When we talk about this law of karma, we all know that it is the karmashaya which we are carrying on our head, shoulder or our back, which is having its roots in the kleshas. Klesha mulaha karmashaya. Drishta adrashta janma vedaniya. You are going to experience it now, maybe later, or you might have experienced it earlier also. Sati mule tadvipako. Because of that kleshas only, you are going to get the fruition or the result into jati ayu bhoga. Which jati you are going to born, whether you are still going to be born in the human being or some other species. I need not tell you many other species are there. Or are you, what kind of ayu you are going to live with that species? Imagine getting born as a rabbit and then getting born as a... The ultimate of the great tapa that you can do is nothing but the pranayama practice. But we all know, we have all heard Parab sir. I sometimes say we were lucky that we were his student when we learned pranayama. Many students tell us, sir, we are lucky because we learned pranayama under you. Then I always say, कभी हमारे गुरुजनों से भी सीख के देखो, फिर आपको पता चलेगा कि हम जो बता रहे हैं वो कुछ नहीं है. Literally that kind of impressions which were made on us, we never lost the hold of the basics. That why we should be practicing asanas very regularly, why we should be doing Shuddhi Kriyas regularly, not only keep our three doshas balanced, but at the same time make sure that the purity which we are expecting to come to that level of understanding of peace and prosperity within the inner purity which leads us to that inner peace, the inner purity which leads us to inner prosperity. That is where the pranayama is helping me to become pure. So I am seeing here also, but she is making, you might not have seen it clearly. So this is where I just want to bring one attention to you all. Is Sutra number 15. Parinama Tapa, Samskara, Dukha, Guna, Vritti, Viruddhacha, Dukhameva Sarvam Vivekina. See, all of us should become a Viveki. Being a Viveki, you will see all the good, all the bad, all the happiness, all the sorrow as dukkha only. Of course, it is propagated by the other philosophies like Buddhism and all also. But please understand, in nothing here in the living lifestyle that we are going through should be taken as ultimate happiness. Happiness at our level is always going to be there. Who can understand my state of happiness that I am standing here after 14 years to speak a word from the mic in Yoga Bhavan, the happiness that I am going through. But at the same time, this happiness also we need to connect. That when you are doing tapa swadhyaya and surrendering your everything that you have done to the feet of the Lord, it is Ishwar Pranidhan. Gorpade sir in the morning he was asking me, Sabir, कौन सा practice आएगा उसमें तप में, कौन सा practice आएगा स्वाध्याय में, कौन सा practice आएगा ईश्वर प्रणिधान में. Every practices as a hard work will come under tapa. Every practice which makes you to introspect on yourself and make you to understand where you are standing and doing justice to the birth that you have taken place in the human being is swadhyaya. And every time when you are doing swadhyaya, are you surrendering it to the feet of the Lord or not? That is Kriya Yoga. Thank you very much.
Don't know what about others, but those who are newly introduced to yoga, they will start taking interest in Patanjali Yoga Sutra after your lecture. Thank you so much. I request Athale sir to honor SABIR sir with an appreciation.